starts quietly, not with failure, not with heartbreak, not with some dramatic collapse that everyone can see. It starts in the small moments you never question. The extra glance at your phone, the unnecessary message, the restless need to be noticed. The subtle hunger for validation that follows you like a shadow you pretend isn't there. And before you even realize it, your life is no longer moving forward, circling around attention, around approval, around women, around the hope that someone else will look at you and decide you are enough. And that is where your power begins to leak. Not all at once, drop by drop, day by day. You don't feel it happening. That's why it's dangerous. Because the most destructive losses in a man's life are silent, no alarm, no warnings. You wake up thinking about who replied. You sleep thinking about who ignored you. Your mood depends on someone else's behavior. Your confidence rises and falls based on text bubbles and seen receipts. And you call this normal. Society calls this normal. Your friends call this normal. But deep down, something inside you feels weak. Something feels wrong. Because a man who depends on external attention is already negotiating his worth. Already asking for permission to exist. Already bending without realizing he is bending. You say you want strength. You say you want respect. But your actions confess something else. They confess that your focus is scattered. And scattered focus is the birthplace of mediocrity. Look at your days honestly. Strip away the lies. Strip away the... How much time do you waste trying to impress people who have contributed nothing to your growth? How many hours disappear scrolling, chasing, checking, waiting, fantasizing? Hours that could have built skill. Hours that could have built discipline. Hours that could have built a body, a business, a mind sharp enough to cut through the world. Instead, they dissolve into conversations that mean nothing. Into emotional drama that leads nowhere. Because the moment you hope to be chosen, you have already decided you are not enough on your own. And this is the brutal reality. No one says out loud. Chasing women feels exciting. It feels alive. It gives you short bursts of dopamine, small highs, small wins, a reply. Temporary validation. But temporary highs create permanent weakness because you train your brain to seek pleasure instead of progress. You train yourself to react instead of build. A man who seeks instead of attracts, a man who asks instead of commands. That is not strength. That is dependency wearing a confident mask. A focused man moves differently, quietly, calmly. He does not chase, says he does not. He does not perform tricks for attention like a street clown, hoping someone throws approval at his feet. He understands something most never learn. Attention is cheapest when you hunt it and most expensive when you ignore it. The more you chase, the less you are. The less you chase, the more gravity you develop. But gravity only comes from mass, and mass only comes from work. Years of invisible work, painful work, boring work, repetitive work, the kind of work nobody applauds, the kind of work nobody sees. The kind of work weak men avoid because it doesn't give instant emotional rewards. So instead, they flirt, they scroll, they fantasize, they daydream about relationships while their bank account stays empty, while their body stays soft, while their mind stays unfocused. And then they wonder why life feels heavy, why respect feels distant, why nothing seems stable. Because deep down, they built nothing solid. They built their identity on reactions, on how others feel about them, on how desirable they appear, but desire fades. Beauty fades, attention shifts, and when it does, a man who built himself on those things collapses. Not because the world is cruel, but because he never built foundations. He built smoke. You cannot build greatness while chasing distractions. It is mathematically impossible. Every hour has a cost. Every thought has a cost. Every emotional attachment has a cost. And you are paying with your life, whether you admit it or not. Time does not negotiate. Time does not care that you were lonely. It does not care that you wanted someone to like you. It simply moves forward. And whatever you failed to build today becomes regret tomorrow. That is the law. Cold, unforgiving, precise. Most men never confront this truth because it hurts their ego. They want to believe they are a living life. They want to believe they are enjoying you. But there's a difference between living and leaking. Living means growth. Leaking means slow self-betrayal. And chasing constant validation is leakage, energy out, focus out. But out, discipline out. You feel busy, but nothing improves. You feel stimulated, but nothing strengthens. You feel connected, but you are actually drifting further from yourself. And one day you wake up older, slower, still average, still replaceable, still wondering where the years went. They went into chasing conversations that didn't matter, chasing feelings that didn't last, while the men who chose isolation, who chose discipline, who chose silence, were building empires quietly. This is not about hatred. This is not about bitterness. This is not about rejecting women or relationships. It is about order, priority, structure. If your foundation is weak, everything you build on top will collapse. If your life has no mission, you will cling to romance for meaning. If your days have no purpose, you will chase attention to fill the emptiness. But attention cannot fill a hollow life. It only distracts you from noticing the whole. And here is the sentence most people will never say to you directly because it sounds harsh. If you are constantly chasing women, it is usually because you are avoiding the harder task of building yourself. Self-improvement is slow, lonely, frustrating. There are no instant rewards, no applause, no one saying you look attractive while you are studying at midnight or training at dawn or working while everyone else sleeps. There is only silence, only effort, only the quiet voice in your head. Weak men escape that silence by chasing pleasure. Strong men walk straight into it and build anyway because deep work feels heavy and chasing feels easy. Easy always costs more later. Hard always pays more later. But most people choose based on comfort, not consequence. So they stay distracted. They stay average. And average men always chase because they have nothing else to offer except attention-seeking behavior. A dangerous man doesn't chase. He doesn't need to. His life is too full. His schedule too tight. His goals are too large. His standards are too high. He doesn't wake up wondering who will text him. He wakes up with a list of tasks that demand blood, training, learning, building, expanding, fixing weaknesses, strengthening discipline. Every day is a battlefield. There is no spare energy for emotional gain. And strangely, that is exactly why he becomes magnetic. Because detachment creates mystery. Focus creates respect. Purpose creates attraction without. But you will never reach that state if your mind is scattered across 10 different people, waiting for validation like a thirsty man waiting for rain. You cannot build greatness with a begging mindset. You cannot command respect while seeking approval. You cannot lead your life while emotionally kneeling. Something must change. Something must be cut away. And it will hurt. Because letting go of chasing means facing yourself, facing your weaknesses, facing your empty, facing the uncomfortable truth that maybe you have been hiding behind romance and attention because you were afraid to test your real potential. That realization stings, but it is necessary. Because pain that reveals truth is better than pleasure that hides decay. And this is where the transformation begins, not with motivation, not with hype, not with dreams, but with a cold, uncomfortable question that most men avoid their entire lives. What could you become if you stopped chasing anyone and finally turned all that energy inward? Sit with that question without running from it. Do not reach for your phone. Do not distract yourself. Do not imagine a fantasy. Just sit there and feel the weight of it because the truth is simple and merciless. Most men have never truly tested themselves. Not once, not completely. Not honestly. They think they have tried. They think they have worked hard. But they have always kept one foot in comfort, one foot in distraction, one foot in the soft world of attention and emotional dependence. They never go all in, never isolate long enough, never focus deeply enough, never push themselves into the dark, lonely territory where real strength is forged. They keep escaping into conversations, escaping into relationships, escaping into chasing, and every escape delays the one thing that could actually change their life. Growth demands solitude, not forever, but long enough to rebuild yourself from the inside out. And solitude is terrifying to a man who has built his identity around being desired. Because when nobody is watching, when nobody is texting, when nobody is flirting, when the room is silent and the night is long, there is nowhere left to hide. No external noise, no external praise, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts, just you and your weaknesses, just you and the uncomfortable inventory of everything you haven't built yet. Your lack of discipline, your unfinished goals, your wasted years, your soft habits. That silence exposes everything. And most men would rather chase 100 empty conversations than sit alone with that mirror. So they keep chasing, not because they love women, but because they are afraid of themselves, afraid of discovering how much potential they buried under laziness, afraid of realizing they traded greatness for comfort, afraid of knowing they could have been more. So instead of confronting that fear, they drown it in dopamine.
Notifications, dates, validation, attention. They decorate their cage and call it life.
They convince themselves they're a social, a romantic, a living freely. But if you strip away the labels, what you really see is avoidance, pure avoidance, running from the work that actually matters. Because building greatness is brutally boring at first. No glamour, no applause. No one cheering for you when you wake up early. No one clapping when you study. No one celebrating when you train until your muscles burn. No one noticing when you skip parties to work on your future. It's thankless, invisible, cold. And that is exactly why it works. Because only a small percentage of people are willing to endure that phase. Everyone wants the reward. Almost nobody wants the process. So the process becomes your advantage. While others are chasing pleasure, you are stacking discipline. While others are chasing approval, you are stacking skill. While others are chasing bodies, you are building a body. While others are chasing attention, you are building value. And value is the only thing that truly attracts anything worthwhile in life. Think about it. A man with no money, no strength, no mission, no self-control, chasing women looks desperate. A man with competence, strength, focus, and direction doesn't need to chase anything. Presence alone changes the room. Silence alone commands respect. People sense weight. They sense when someone has endured something. They sense when someone has built themselves brick by brick. There's a difference in the eyes. One set of eyes is restless, always scanning, always seeking approval. The other set is steady, calm, almost indifferent. Nothing to prove, nothing to beg for. That difference is not genetics. It is discipline. It is sacrifice. It is years of choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. And you cannot fake that. No clothes can fake it. No words can fake it. No tricks can fake it. Because energy does not lie. When you are empty inside, you feel it. When you are solid inside, others feel it. So ask yourself honestly, what energy are you carrying right now? Inspiration or direction? Because chasing women usually comes from desperation, even if you pretend it doesn't, even if you call it. Even if you tell your friends you're just having fun, deep down, there is always a subtle neediness hiding underneath, a need to be validated, a need to be desired, a need to prove you matter. But a man who truly matters. But a man who truly matters doesn't feel the need to prove anything. He's too busy. Too busy progressing. Too busy becoming dangerous. And understand this clearly. Dangerous does not mean violent. It means capable. Capable of surviving alone. Capable of building wealth. Capable of controlling emotions. Capable of walking. Capable of saying no. Capable of losing anyone and still standing strong. That is dangerous because nothing controls you. And the moment nothing controls you, everything starts respecting you. But you cannot reach that state while emotionally dependent on constant dependence weakens your spine. It softens your decisions. It makes you compromise standards. You tolerate disrespect because you don't want to lose someone. You waste time because you're afraid to be alone. You delay goals because you're busy entertaining people who don't contribute to you. You start shaping your schedule around others instead of shaping your life around your mission. And slowly, your mission disappears. And the years pass, and you wake up one morning realizing you built memories, but not strength, stories, but not stability, moments, but not mastery. And when real life hits bills, responsibilities, pressure, competition, memories don't save you. Strength does. Skill does. Skill does. Discipline does. So the question becomes brutally simple. Do you want to feel desired today or respected for life? Because you rarely get both. The years required to build greatness are often lonely. You will be misunderstood, called boring, called obsessed, called too serious. People will say you've changed, and they're right. You have changed. And they're right. You have changed. You stopped begging. You stopped performing for approval. You stopped chasing. And you started becoming. That transition is painful because you will lose people. Some will disappear when you stop entertaining them. Some will lose interest when you stop being available 24/7. Some will call you cold. Better to be called cold and grow strong than be called charming and stay weak. Because at the end of the day, charm doesn't protect you from reality. Strength does. Money does. Discipline does. Control does. Control does. And none of those come from chase. They come from isolation, repetition, focus, and sacrifice. From saying no 1,000 times. From ignoring distractions. From choosing work when your emotions beg for comfort. From walking past temptation like it's nothing. From mastering yourself so completely that nothing external has leverage over you. That is where real freedom lives, not in attention, not in flirting, not in constant social noise, but in control, total control over your time, your energy, your mind. And until you develop that control, you will always be reacting instead of creating, always chasing instead of attracting, always hoping instead of deciding. Because hope means waiting, and waiting means your life is in someone else's hands. Stop waiting, stop chasing, stop leaking energy into places that return nothing. Turn inward, cut the noise, accept the loneliness, accept the grind, accept the boredom. Because hidden inside that boring, lonely, disciplined phase is the version of you that nobody can ignore. And he only appears when you finally say, enough. Enough is not. Enough is not a loud word. It doesn't come with drama. It doesn't come with speeches or sudden explosions of motivation. It comes quiet, almost cold, like a switch flipping inside your chest. A decision so calm that it scares you. Because this time you're not emotional. You're done. Done negotiating with your weaknesses. Done explaining yourself. Done performing for people who never plan to stay. Done building your days around who might text back. Done handing your focus to strangers. Just done. And when that state hits, something strange happens. The noise loses its grip. The craving fades. The constant urge to check, chase, impress starts to look childish. You begin to see it clearly for what it always was. Not romance, not excitement, not connection, just distraction, a shiny distraction that kept you harmless. Because a distracted man is easy to control, easy to replace, easy to forget. But a focused man, he's different. He becomes heavy. Hard to move, hard to manipulate, hard to compete with. And the world respects what it cannot easily shake. Look back at your past without lying to yourself. How many opportunities died because you were busy chasing feelings? How many skills you never built because you were entertained? How many mornings wasted in bed, replaying conversations that meant nothing? How many nights lost scrolling through faces you would forget in a week? You told yourself it was harmless, just fun, just normal life. But stack those days together. Stack those hours together. Stack those years together. It becomes terrifying because what you really lost wasn't time. It was momentum, and momentum is everything. A man with momentum feels unstoppable. A man without momentum feels stuck. Chasing destroys momentum. Every emotional high resets you. Every distraction pulls you off. Every new attachment splits your focus again. It's like trying to run forward while 10 different hands are grabbing your shirt. You never reach full speed. You never feel sharp. You never feel dangerous. You stay half built, half committed. It doesn't panic. It simply stands solid, unmoved. And from that stability, everything else flows naturally. Respect, attraction, opportunity. But they come as byproducts, not targets, not targets. The moment you chase them. So you shift your target, not women.